Hey, what's up, everybody? It's just Charles, and welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamerspro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and when we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And boy, oh boy, we got another episode here for you guys that you want to stick around for. Just make sure you go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Now, listen, I know this is starting to sound like a broken record. I feel like we've been here way too many times, but I think it's time for us to start to start accepting the fact that the Lakers season is over, bro. Like that joint it's a wrap. Like the Lakers season is over. Like it's over. Like there's no more hope. There's no more faith. Like there's no more wishful thinking. There's no help on the way. It's over. It is over. I have said it all season long. If people told the fans the truth, we wouldn't be here talking about this. Too many people were out there selling wishes and selling dreams. If people were honest 20, 30, 40 games into the season, we would be in a different place right now. I remember in the beginning of the season, I think in the preseason, which I don't pay attention to really, I don't think they won a game in the preseason. Then they started off the season with the first 20 games. They were 10-10, and I think they had the first 15 games at home. To me, I was like, okay, wait a minute, there's something wrong here. Minus the injuries and all of that stuff, something is wrong. But nevertheless, people kept on, oh, well, you don't know. I can't bet against this guy. I can't bet against that guy. I just can't bet against them. And I'm like acting like as if these people have never lost before in the NBA, like never had seasons where they don't make the playoffs. I just can't. And I'm like, a lot of people were struggling to come with to come to terms with the truth. Now, it's gotten to the point where some people are still saying, can the Lakers make up a late season run? Because they just beat the Golden State Warriors. And some people will see that one win and they'll say, oh, you know, if all they need to do is just get Anthony Davis back, and you never know what could happen in the next 4 games. Maybe they can beat them. I've even heard some people say once we get into the playoffs, everybody's record is 0-0, and then it's a fresh thing. And then all of a sudden, Just last night, the Lakers lost to the second worst team in the entire association. They lost to a Houston Rockets team. Think about this. That were 16-49 going into that game. 16-49. The Houston Rockets, a team that is 33 games below 500, is the team that the Lakers somehow found a way to lose to. It was totally absurd because the Lakers clearly had more talent on the floor. This is indisputable. When you have Russell, hell, if all you had was Russell Westbrook, you have more talent. You have a top 75 player and a triple-double king. But they had Russell Westbrook and LeBron James, who has been playing very well this season. And this is the reason why I get upset with some of you people. You cannot tell me, you can't start talking about LeBron is old and all of these different things when they lose, and when they win, you want to talk about how great he is because he's old. Which one is it? If LeBron is good, then then the Lakers had a good player on the court yesterday. They had 2 all-star players on the court yesterday. LeBron made it on an all-star team this year. He is an all-star. The Lakers had 2 all-stars. If you look at the Houston Rockets roster, I didn't see any all-stars that they had in their starting lineup. And somehow, some way, they found a way to lose that game. Now, here's the kicker. In that game, LeBron finished the game with 23 points, and Russell Westbrook finished that game with 30 points. Do you know that there's some people out there that would see that performance and say, hey, wait a minute. Like, can you imagine if Anthony Davis was playing and he chipped in 20? If Anthony Davis was playing like that and then Russell Westbrook was playing the way he did and LeBron was playing the way that he did, the Lakers would definitely have a chance. They would definitely have a chance to come out and win this game. They could be dangerous. One never knows what they could turn into when they get into the playoffs. And this is this type of thinking that has gotten us to this point. Forget about the fact that the Lakers lost that game. The Lakers are losing all of these games because of their defense or lack thereof. The Lakers are not a good defensive team, guys. That's why it is an irrelevant point. It's a mute point to bring up. Oh, if they bring it because the Lakers were a bad defensive team when he was there. So what's going to happen miraculously is everyone else going to start playing defense. Let me give you guys some numbers. As we currently speak, the Lakers are the 17th ranked defense in the NBA, and I don't even know how they're ranked that high. The Lakers are scoring 109, basically 111 points per game, 110.9 points per game. So offense is not their issue on a simplistic level. They're giving up, the Lakers, 113 points per game. They're giving up way too many points per game, this Lakers team. The Clippers, who have a better record, who are 2 games above 500, who do not have Paul George, who do not have Kawhi Leonard, the reason that the Clippers are able to stay afloat is because although the Clippers are scoring 107 points per game, which is less than the Lakers, the Clippers are holding opponents to 107.6, which basically explains their record is pretty much why they're close to being a 500 team, because it means most of those games were toss-up. They were close. Sometimes there's a blowout, sometimes they blow teams out, but on average, they're playing pretty close to their opponents. If you look at the Lakers, however, the reason they're losing so many games is because of their defense. Their defense is the reason that this team is losing games, and also because they have a poorly constructed roster. If we get to the roster aspect of this, you talk about the Russell Westbrooks of the world. I don't know who thought it was a good idea to have a starting 5 with basically no shooting. The only floor spacing that the Lakers had in mind this season, think about this, the only floor spacing they had in mind in their starting 5 was Trevor Ariza. That was supposed to be their knockdown 3-point shooter. There's no way in hell you would have told me or you think that Russell Westbrook, who's a low 30s% 3-point shooter, was going to be the guy who was going to provide spacing. LeBron is a streaky 3-point shooter. If you look at the game of LeBron James, historically, it is predicated on him playing with a lot of veteran players that stretch the floor so he can operate, because LeBron is a very ball-dominant basketball player. That's when LeBron is at his most successful, is one of the reasons why Kevin Love, Chris Bosh, and all of these guys ended up being spot-up shooters. He needs the space to operate. But when you put him in a situation where he has no spacing, and then you take him off the ball and you give the ball to Russell Westbrook, and he's supposed to be the one finishing, it's going to be a recipe for disaster. It's going to be a recipe for disaster, and it's one of the reasons why I am still stumped that some people feel, okay, if Anthony Davis makes his return somehow, some way, this team is going to turn into a defensive stalwart, or they're going to be an even top 10 defense. What makes you think that they don't have the personnel to play defense? It's not just Carmelo, it's all of them. All of them. No one is playing defense. Not LeBron, not Carmelo, not Russell Westbrook, not nobody is playing defense, and that is the reason they keep losing. And to me, the solution is simple. Blow up this team in the offseason. If you want to trade away Russell Westbrook, who reports have been saying that he wants to be gone, you get rid of Russell Westbrook. If you can trade Anthony Davis, you trade him and get some better players or whatever it is. But this next iteration of this, I don't see how it's going to work. If they don't make some major shakeups, it's not going to work. They're not going to get better, all of us. These guys that are aging are not going to get better next year. These guys are beyond their prime. If it's younger players in their 21, 22, 23, yes, they can get better as they're going because they're heading towards their prime. These guys are past their prime. So to me, I think the Lakers need to do something serious. And I think, listen, Laker fans have every reason to be upset with that team, with the management and with the players. Because to me, I just cannot understand how you lose to the Houston Rockets, who are the second worst team in the NBA. These are my thoughts. What I want to know from you guys is, what do you think about what I said? Whatever you think, please leave your thoughts and comments in the comment section, and we'll definitely catch you guys on the next episode.